You're special. You're different. You're a chosen one. But here's the catch. Being chosen doesn't mean you're immune to mistakes. In fact, you might be falling into the same traps over and over without even realizing it. This journey you're on, it's not just about being picked for something great. It's about growing, learning, and yes, messing up sometimes. But here's the real kicker. What if I told you that you could stop making those same old mistakes? That you could break free from the cycles holding you back? Stick around, because we're about to dive deep into the world of chosen ones and the hidden pitfalls that might be tripping you up. Now, let's get real for a second. What happens when you keep stumbling over the same obstacles? It's not just frustrating. It can be downright dangerous for your spiritual growth. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. Each time you make progress, you slip and fall back down. That's what it's like when you repeat the same mistakes on your spiritual journey. You're not just standing still, you're actually sliding backward. But it gets worse. Every time you fall into old patterns, you're not just hurting yourself. You're dimming your light, and that light? It's meant to guide others. You're a chosen one, remember? Your journey isn't just about you. It's about all the people you're meant to help, inspire, and lead. When you're stuck in a loop of mistakes, you're not just holding yourself back. You're holding back everyone who's counting on you. Think about it. How many times have you felt like you're on the verge of a breakthrough, only to find yourself right back where you started? It's like being stuck in a spiritual time loop. And let me tell you, that loop can turn into a prison if you're not careful. Your potential, your purpose, your very reason for being chosen, all of it can get buried under the weight of repeated mistakes. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to break free, to learn, to grow, to evolve. That's what being chosen is really about. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to face your mistakes head on and do the work to overcome them. Because when you do that, that's when the real magic happens. That's when you start to fulfill the destiny you were chosen for. Let's talk about your spiritual journey for a minute. If you thought being chosen meant smooth sailing all the way, I've got news for you. It's more like a roller coaster ride. There are ups, there are downs, and sometimes there are loops that turn your world upside down. But you know what? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. Think back to when you first realized you were different, that you had a special purpose. Remember that rush of excitement? The feeling that you were meant for something big? That's one of the high points. It's like reaching the top of the roller coaster, seeing the whole world spread out before you, full of possibility. But then comes the drop. Maybe you faced doubt. Maybe you questioned if you were really chosen at all. Or maybe you ran into challenges that seemed impossible to overcome. That's the part of the ride where your stomach lurches and you wonder why you got on in the first place. But here's the secret. Those lows are just as important as the highs. See, being chosen doesn't mean you get to skip the hard parts. In fact, it often means you get extra helpings of challenges. Why? Because each challenge is a chance to grow stronger, to learn something new, to become more of who you're meant to be. It's in those tough moments that you forge your spiritual strength. And let's be real, everyone faces these ups and downs, even the most enlightened spiritual leaders. The difference is in how you handle them. Do you let the lows crush your spirit? Or do you use them as fuel to push higher on the next upswing? Here's the thing about this spiritual roller coaster. You're not strapped in alone. Look around. See all those other chosen ones? They're on this ride with you. Some might be screaming in fear. Others might have their hands up in excitement. But they're all going through their own ups and downs. And that's important to remember. You're not alone in this journey. So, what's the point of all these twists and turns? It's simple. They're shaping you. Each rise gives you a new perspective, a glimpse of what's possible. Each fall teaches you resilience, shows you what you're made of. And every loop? That's life testing your commitment, seeing if you're really ready for the path you've been chosen for. Your job isn't to avoid the drops or to stay at the high points forever. It's to ride the whole track, to experience every part of the journey. Because here's the truth, it's not about reaching some final destination. Being chosen is about the journey itself, about who you become along the way. So, next time you feel like your spiritual journey is taking you for a wild ride, remember, That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Embrace the ups, learn from the downs, and most importantly, keep your eyes open. Because you never know what amazing view is waiting for you around the next bend. Now, you might be wondering, okay, I get it. The journey's tough, but how do I stop making the same mistakes over and over? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into next. We're going to look at some of the most common traps that chosen ones fall into, and more importantly, how to climb right back out of them. Because remember, being chosen isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to learn, grow, and keep moving forward, no matter how many times you stumble. So, are you ready to face these challenges head on? Are you ready to break free from the cycles that have been holding you back? Good, because the world needs you at your best. It needs you to step into your power, to shine your light bright. And that journey? It starts right here, right now. Let's get into it. Let's talk about one of the biggest traps chosen ones fall into, ignoring that little voice inside. You know the one I'm talking about. It's that gut feeling, that whisper in your mind that tries to guide you. But here's the thing. In our noisy world, it's so easy to drown out that voice. Think about it. How many times have you had a hunch about something, a feeling that you should or shouldn't do something, but you pushed it aside? Maybe you thought it was just your imagination. Maybe you listened to other people's advice instead. Or maybe you were just too busy to pay attention. But here's the truth. That inner voice? It's your direct line to spiritual guidance. It's like a compass pointing you in the right direction. When you ignore it, you're essentially walking around with a blindfold on, stumbling into situations that you could have avoided. So why do we do it? Why do we ignore this valuable tool? Often, it's because we're afraid. Afraid of what that voice might tell us to do. Afraid of the changes it might ask us to make. It's easier to stay in our comfort zone, to keep doing what we've always done, even if it's not working. But remember, you're a chosen one. You weren't picked to play it safe. You were chosen to make a difference, to blaze new trails. And to do that, you need to trust your inner guidance. Here's a simple way to start tuning into that voice. Take a few minutes each day to just be quiet. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Just sit and listen. At first, you might not hear anything. That's okay. Keep at it. Over time, you'll start to notice those subtle nudges, those quiet insights. And when you do get a message from your inner voice, act on it. Even if it seems small or insignificant, the more you listen and respond, the stronger that connection becomes. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Remember, your inner voice is your secret weapon. It's your personal hotline to spiritual wisdom. Don't ignore it. Embrace it. Trust it. Because when you do, you'll find yourself making fewer mistakes and moving faster on your spiritual path. Now, let's shine a light on another big stumbling block for chosen ones, the comparison trap. It's so easy to fall into, isn't it? You look at other spiritual leaders, other chosen ones, and you start to measure yourself against them. They're more successful. They have more followers. They seem to have it all together. But let me tell you a secret. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your confidence, and your unique purpose. When you're busy looking at someone else's path, you're not focusing on your own. And that's a big problem. See, being chosen doesn't mean you're supposed to be like everyone else. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You were picked because of your unique gifts, your special perspective. When you try to be like someone else, you're dimming your own light. Think about it this way. In a garden, every flower is different. Roses don't try to be sunflowers. Daisies don't try to be orchids. Each flower blooms in its own way, and that's what makes the garden beautiful. You're a unique flower in the spiritual garden. Your job is to bloom as yourself, not to try to be a copy of someone else. So, how do you break free from this comparison trap? First, recognize when you're doing it. Notice those moments when you start to feel less than, or when you're wishing you were more like someone else. That awareness is the first step. Next, remind yourself of your own unique gifts. What makes you special? What can you offer that no one else can? Focus on developing those qualities instead of wishing you had someone else's. And here's a powerful tip. When you catch yourself comparing, switch to appreciating. Instead of feeling bad that someone else seems to be doing better, appreciate their success. Be inspired by it. Use it as proof of what's possible for you too. Remember, your journey is your own. It's not a race, and there's no single definition of success. Your path might look different from others, and that's okay. In fact, that's exactly how it should be. So, the next time you feel the urge to compare yourself to other chosen ones, stop, take a deep breath, and remind yourself you're not here to be like anyone else. You're here to be you, in all your unique, wonderful, chosen glory. Now, let's talk about a mistake that trips up even the most dedicated chosen ones: neglecting self-care. It's a sneaky one because it often disguises itself as dedication or selflessness. You're so focused on your mission, on helping others, that you forget to take care of yourself. But here's the hard truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without replenishing your own energy, you'll burn out. And a burnt-out chosen one? That's not going to help anyone. Think of it this way. You're like a battery. Every time you use your spiritual gifts, every time you help someone or work towards your purpose, you're using up some of that energy. If you don't recharge, eventually you'll run out of power. So why do so many chosen ones fall into this trap? Often, it's because of guilt. You might feel like taking time for yourself is selfish. After all, you've been chosen for a higher purpose, right? Shouldn't you be dedicating every moment to that? But that's a misunderstanding of what it means to be chosen. Your higher purpose includes taking care of yourself. Because when you're at your best, that's when you can truly shine your light and make the biggest impact. So, how do you avoid this mistake? It starts with recognizing that self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's part of your spiritual practice. Just like you'd maintain a car to keep it running smoothly, you need to maintain yourself. This doesn't mean you need to spend hours at a spa, though if that helps you, go for it. Self-care can be as simple as getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, taking a few minutes each day to meditate or pray, spending time in nature, doing things that bring you joy. Here's a practical tip. Schedule self-care like you'd schedule any other important appointment. Put it in your calendar. Make it non-negotiable, because it is that important. Remember, your body, mind, and spirit are the instruments through which you fulfill your purpose. If those instruments are out of tune or worn out, you can't play your spiritual music effectively. So, chosen one, make a commitment to yourself right now. Promise that you'll start taking better care of yourself. Because when you do, you'll have more energy, more clarity, and more power to fulfill your divine purpose. And here's the beautiful thing. When you prioritize self-care, you're not just helping yourself. You're setting an example for others. You're showing them that it's okay, even necessary, to take care of themselves too. And that ripple effect? That's part of your chosen purpose too. Now, let's talk about a game changer on your spiritual journey: awareness. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see everything that was hidden before. And when it comes to avoiding those common mistakes we've been talking about, awareness is your secret weapon. Think about it. How can you fix a problem if you don't know it's there? That's why being aware of these common pitfalls is so crucial. It's the first step towards positive change. It's like having a map that shows you where all the traps are. Once you can see them, you can avoid them. But awareness isn't just about spotting the negatives. It's also about recognizing the positives. When you're aware, you start to notice the small victories, the tiny steps forward that you might have missed before. And those small wins? They add up. They give you the motivation to keep going. So, how do you develop this superpower of awareness? It starts with paying attention, really paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, to the world around you. It's about being present in each moment, instead of constantly living in the past or worrying about the future. Here's a simple practice to boost your awareness. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to reflect. Ask yourself, what went well today? What challenges did I face? Did I fall into any of those common traps we talked about? This daily check-in can be a powerful tool for growth. Remember, awareness isn't about judging yourself. It's not about beating yourself up when you notice a mistake. It's about observing, understanding, and then choosing to do better. It's about learning and growing. And here's the beautiful thing about awareness. It spreads. As you become more aware in your own life, you'll start to notice things about the world around you. You'll become more in tune with others, more able to offer the right kind of help at the right time. And isn't that what being a chosen one is all about? So, chosen one, make awareness your new best friend. Let it guide you, teach you, help you grow. Because when you shine the light of awareness on your path, you'll find it much easier to navigate the twists and turns of your spiritual journey. Now, let's get practical. I'm going to share with you a simple spiritual practice that can help you avoid these common mistakes and supercharge your growth as a chosen one. It's called the sacred pause, and trust me, it's a game changer. Here's how it works. Throughout your day, whenever you feel stressed, confused, or about to react to something, take a sacred pause. It's simple. Just stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and count to 5. That's it. But in that tiny moment, something magical happens. First, you're creating space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting automatically, you're giving yourself a chance to choose your response. This is huge for avoiding those knee-jerk reactions that often lead to mistakes. Second, you're tuning into your inner voice. Remember how we talked about the importance of listening to that inner guidance? Well, the sacred pause gives it a chance to speak up. In that moment of quiet, you might just hear the whisper of wisdom you need. Third, you're practicing awareness. By taking a moment to pause, you're stepping out of autopilot and into the present moment. You're giving yourself a chance to see what's really going on, both inside you and around you. So, how do you make this a regular part of your day? Start small. Set a goal to take 3 sacred pauses tomorrow. You can even set reminders on your phone if that helps. As you get used to it, try to increase the number of pauses you take each day. And here's a pro tip. Use everyday cues to remind you to pause. Maybe every time you walk through a doorway, or every time your phone rings, or every time you're about to eat. These regular events can become your triggers for a sacred pause. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's too simple. How can just pausing for a few seconds make a difference? But remember, chosen one, sometimes the most powerful tools are the simplest ones. This practice might seem small, but its effects can be profound. By regularly taking these sacred pauses, you're training yourself to be more mindful, more aware, more in tune with your inner wisdom. You're creating space for growth and change. And over time, you'll find yourself naturally avoiding those common mistakes we've been talking about. So, are you ready to give it a try? Commit to practicing the sacred pause for the next week. See how it changes your reactions, your decisions, your overall spiritual journey. Because sometimes, the biggest leaps forward start with the smallest steps. Let's talk about your spiritual growth. It's a journey, not a destination. And like any journey, it has its ups and downs, its twists and turns. But here's the thing. Every step of that journey is valuable. Even the missteps. Especially the missteps. You see, growth isn't about being perfect. It's about learning, adapting, and becoming more of who you're meant to be. And that process? It takes time. It takes patience. And most importantly, it takes self-compassion. Think about a plant growing. It doesn't sprout into a full-grown tree overnight. It grows slowly, steadily, pushing through the soil, reaching for the sun. Some days it might not seem like it's growing at all. But beneath the surface, amazing things are happening. Your spiritual growth is like that. Some days, you might feel like you're making huge leaps forward. Other days, it might feel like you're stuck or even moving backward. But trust me, as long as you're putting in the effort, you're growing. Here's the secret. The more you avoid those common mistakes we've talked about, the faster your growth will be. When you listen to your inner voice, when you stop comparing yourself to others, when you take care of yourself, when you practice awareness, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see real, lasting change. But remember, growth isn't always comfortable. In fact, it's often uncomfortable. It might mean facing fears, confronting old beliefs, stepping out of your comfort zone. But that discomfort, it's a sign that you're stretching, that you're becoming more than you were before. So, how can you support your own growth? First, celebrate your progress, even the small wins. Did you catch yourself before falling into an old habit? Celebrate that. Did you take a sacred pause in a stressful moment? That's worth celebrating too. Second, be patient with yourself. Growth takes time. You wouldn't expect a seedling to become a mighty oak overnight. Give yourself the same kindness and patience you'd give to that growing plant. And third, keep going, even when it's hard, even when you slip up. Remember, every chosen one before you has faced challenges. They've made mistakes, but they kept going, and that's what made them great. Your spiritual growth is your gift to the world. As you grow, as you become more fully who you're meant to be, you're better able to fulfill your purpose. You're better able to shine your light and help others. So, chosen one, embrace your journey of growth, with all its ups and downs, all its challenges and victories, because every step of that journey is shaping you into the spiritual leader you're meant to be. As we wrap up our journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've discovered. We've explored the common mistakes that can trip up even the most dedicated chosen ones. We've learned about the power of listening to our inner voice, the danger of comparison, and the crucial importance of self-care. We've discovered the transformative power of awareness and the simple yet profound practice of the sacred pause. But more than that, we've uncovered a fundamental truth. Being a chosen one isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to learn, to grow, to face your challenges head-on. It's about getting back up when you fall, about shining your light even when the darkness seems overwhelming. Remember, you weren't chosen because you're flawless. You were chosen because of your potential, because of the unique gifts only you can bring to the world. Your mistakes, your struggles, your moments of doubt, they're all part of your journey. They're what make you relatable, what allow you to connect with and help others who are facing their own challenges. So, as you move forward from here, carry these lessons with you. Listen to your inner wisdom. Celebrate your unique path instead of comparing it to others. Take care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit. Practice awareness in every moment. And remember to pause, to create that sacred space for growth and transformation. But most of all, be kind to yourself. Embrace your journey with all its twists and turns. Because every step you take, every challenge you overcome, every mistake you learn from, it's all bringing you closer to fulfilling your divine purpose. You are chosen. You are powerful. You are on a journey of incredible growth and transformation. And the world is waiting for the unique light that only you can shine. So go forth, chosen one. Listen to your inner voice. Trust your journey. And know that with every step, you're making a difference in ways you might not even realize. Your journey is just beginning, and the best is yet to come.